Welcome back to continuing coverage of UC soccer here on GoBearcats.com. Tom Glitter with you today as we inch closer to the start of training camp for the UC soccer men's program. And today a chance to chat with head coach Hylton Days. Coach, I know an exciting time. Summer has been filled with camps and trying to make sure the guys are keeping in shape, although you don't have much control over that. They are on their own as far as that's concerned. But I'd imagine a lot of excitement building towards opening camp here in a few weeks.
Yeah, I think everybody's excited about the upcoming season, and it's a lot of changes, a lot of new players, and with that comes excitement and anticipation.
We'll get into the transition of all the new faces in a moment, but August 12th, you will open camp. A little bit of midnight madness for the Bearcats soccer program of their own?
Yeah, we've got a tradition that we've had the last few years where, at 12:01 a.m. we'll start with our fitness and get the guys going at the earliest opportunity. So, hopefully they'll be ready to go.
If all other programs are going to do it, you might as well get out there and get that competitive edge right away.
Sure. And I think for our guys, it's also it's a good opportunity for them to to get together and in a good environment as far as first opportunity, getting out there and seeing where they are fitness-wise.
Well, when we sat here a year ago, we talked about the goalkeeper situation. You didn't really know how it was going to play out. Turned out all right. Miguel Rosales had a great freshman year between the pipes for the Bearcats. Is he the heir apparent to that position going into camp?
Well, Miguel had a good freshman year for us, and certainly I would think that he has the edge, but Matt Williams is certainly did well in the spring, and Matt's had a good summer, played with the Cincinnati Kings of the PDL, and then we've got two good incoming freshmen, Joey Barnard and Peter Steve, and so I would think Miguel, with his experience, is certainly has the edge and would be the incumbent, but I think Matt Williams and the other guys are certainly very capable.
Competition's probably a good thing to push everybody involved, right?
Oh, definitely, and especially in a goalkeeping position, because you need your goalkeeper to be sharp. You need them to be ready to go, and I think competition, the competition that we're going to have is going to provide that.
Some of the familiar faces of the past few years no longer with the program as they've graduated or moved on otherwise. 17 newcomers will be wearing red and black. You have a full roster going in, but a lot of guys that are going to have to take some time to get acclimated. How long does that process take?
Well, we're hoping sooner than later. Obviously, preseason is an opportunity for us to really get a real good look at all the incoming guys and figure out, where we feel they're best suited, although we have a pretty good idea. So, we think this training camp is going to be real critical for us because we have to get some decisions made before our first match, and then I think it'll take us a little while, I think, for everyone to get on the same page. But certainly preseason is an opportunity for us to really get a first-hand look at the guys and really introduce many of them to Division I college soccer.
Imagine as a head coach, you'd rather be in this situation where you have a lot of guys that need to be acclimated than last year where you're a little short-handed trying to figure out how are we going to have enough bodies to go 11 on 11.
Sure, and I think that's one of the things that we did this year is we wanted to make sure our numbers were up and that we had a full complement of players. And, having 15 or 17 new players on your roster is a lot, but as far as numbers and being able to tactically train and play 11 on 11 and have some depth in different positions is certainly going to be a plus for us this coming season.
So many new faces. Obviously, veteran leadership is very important to have away from the coaching staff. Who do you turn to in those situations?
Well, we have Brad Simpson as our lone returning senior, and so certainly Brad's going to provide us with leadership and experience. But we've got some other players that have been around. Juddy McKinney, is going into his third year in the program, and he's been a starter. We've got Luke Henke, who's been around. That'll also provide us with good leadership. And Paul Hosty is another one that's been with the program, and a number of other guys, I think, that we can certainly turn to. And in addition, we've got two transfers. Nick Waitman, who's coming from, coming from a junior college, and he'll be able to help us. And then we've got, Chris Mitchell, who's a transfer from Plattsburgh State, who will help us. So we don't have a lot of upperclassmen, but I do think we have enough that they'll be able to help the young players in the transition.
I imagine those returning Bearcats that you mentioned, they know what it's like to taste that Big East championship. They were part of that team 2 years ago, and they'll relay that message to the young guys, to the newcomers, that this is what we have to do to get back to that level.
Certainly, and for us, it's one of those things where, although we'll be young, I certainly think that, our expectations are still going to be in line with past UC men's soccer programs. And, I failed to mention, too, we've got Kieran Gradwell's coming back off an injury, who was a major contributor 2 years ago and started a number of games and really did well for us. Brandon Stelmack's another player who had played some last year up front, but certainly has had a great off-season, and he's going to be counted on to help, I think, also fill some of the holes with Kenny and Patrick Baxter graduating.
Now, you open camp August 12th. You'll have exhibitions starting in the middle of the month. Then moving forward, you get into the regular season. You have your annual match against Xavier, and maybe one of the really premier tournaments on there. Akron has become one of the premier soccer programs in the country. Pretty exciting to go up, be part of that tournament, and kind of gauge yourself against some national powerhouses.
Sure. I think for us, we always schedule, very tough opponents out of conference, and this year is no different. Obviously Akron, we're going up to playing them in Green Bay, and Green Bay, I think, finished in the top 2 or 3 in the Horizon League, and they're a very quality opponent. Beat Ohio State, I think, last year. We also have Loyola, who's another Horizon League team who's pretty good. So our non-conference schedule is pretty challenging, and Akron is certainly one of the highlights of that.
Well, and the Big East will be no joke as usual. I'd have to imagine the usual powerhouses will be there, and there's always teams throughout the Big East that'll turn up. It's going to be great competition as far as that's concerned all year long.
As you know, Big East is going to be one of the top conferences again. I mean, we will play, including our division teams out of division. We're playing Notre Dame, Providence, and UConn, which are 3 teams that made the NCAA tournament last year. And Connecticut is the defending Big East tournament champions, and they won the Blue Division. So, I mean, our schedule is going to be tremendous. In our division, we'll obviously play St. John's, who did not make the NCAA tournament last year, but will be at the top. We play South Florida, who was an NCAA tournament team, Louisville, and DePaul. So, I mean, the Big East schedule is definitely going to be challenging. But, that's good for our program, I think, because if we want to be one of the best programs, not only in the Big East but in the country, we need to compete against those teams.
If you want to build that tournament resume, that's the way to do it, is to compete against the best teams in the country. You do that out of conference as well as in the Big East. Of course, we'll talk about it throughout the season, but we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule, getting ready for camp. Very exciting time. Good to chat with you, and we'll do it again soon.
Appreciate it, Tommy.
All right, that is all with Hylton Days. We will keep in touch with the men's soccer program throughout Training Camp 2008 and on into the regular season right here on GoBearcats.com.